Hey there, graphic designers. Today we're going to take a look at our text tools. It is right here with this T. If we click and hold, we have a bunch of different options underneath. We're going to take a look at these in a little bit. The first thing to know that with our text tool, there are two ways of creating text on the document, and those two different ways are used for different options. So if I have my regular text tool right here and I just click, we create something called point text, and it's used for titles. It's used for when we're just using a small amount of text, and it gives us more editability. So if I take and write something out right here and I go to my selection tool, if I grab the corner of it, we can resize it. It's getting stretched out right now, so if I hold that shift, it gets constrained. If I go to the corner, I can rotate it. So when we're directly editing it with our selection tool, the text is changing along with it. The other kind of text is called our paragraph text. Now that's used for if we're doing things like an article or we're working with lots of different text. And with that, instead of just clicking, I'm going to click and drag. You can see that it fills it with placeholder text for us. And basically, we created a box where that text is going to be held within. So if I keep typing right now, it goes off the edge and we get a little red dot here showing that there's extra text that's hidden right now. If I come in here with my selection tool and I grab the corner, instead of making the text larger, we're making the box that it's contained within larger. If I try and rotate it, we're rotating that actual box. With this, we get added columns to it, and basically treat it as if like it was text in a magazine. If I come back to my text tool, we have our area text as this next one. What this does is if I have a shape drawn, so I'm going to come in here with a circle, and if I click on that area text, it's going to take this shape and turn it into a bounding box for me. And you can see that that text is now within this shape, and the shape actually disappears because it becomes the holding area for that text. All the same rules apply because it is paragraph text. If we rotate, we're just rotating that circle. We're not going to be able to actually rotate the text at all. Moving on, and we can also take and make our own shapes, so it doesn't really matter what the shape looks like. But if I come back to that area type and I click, it will fill that shape with it. If I wanted to change the size of this text, I would have to come in here, highlight it, come to my point. I can go smaller with it, I can go larger with it, but it's always contained within this actual shape, and we can see that I made it too large and it's outside of the bounding box right now. Our next text is type on a path. So for that, I can either draw a path using my pen tool or any of those shapes. Grab that type on a path, and when I click on that line, it becomes the bounding line for the actual text. And we can see how it follows along it. If I was to take this shape, and you can see that the shape also disappears again, but if I was to actually edit this line, my text would follow along with it. So if I start playing with the angles on here, my text follows those angles. If I create something like a circle, and I was to use this type on a path, we can see how it goes around the outside. If I needed to edit it, I could take that black arrow. We can see that there's a single line that's showing up over here, so we can rotate it around the outside of it. If I wanted to be inside, I could drag it inside. If I can't quite get it to go where I want it to go, we can also rotate the actual object to get it centered in the middle or wherever we need it. The next set over here is basically all the same ones. We have our regular type tool, but this one's going to go vertical. So again, if we click, we get point text. If we click and drag, we get that paragraph text. If I have a shape, and I use this vertical area type, we do the same thing, but it's up and down. And then same with our text on a path, where if I have a path over here and I grab that vertical type on a path, it goes top to bottom. This last guy here is our touch type. So this is sort of used when we're like magazine creation articles, where if I was to take this one letter within here and I grab the O instead of the L on accident, we can make it into like a type cap where it's enlarged. So like in a magazine, a lot of the times the first letter or the first word is a little bit larger to draw attention to it. That's basically what this touch type is right here. So we can increase the size, we can increase the width of it. These O's are the same options right here, but we can move it around a little bit. So it gives us freedom to take a single letter or a couple of letters if we have them highlighted and do some different things to them size-wise and placement-wise.